What's up, gentlemen? So check this out. When you're a young dude, you can get away with doing some pretty stupid things, right? It's not gonna dramatically or drastically impact the rest of your life, unless you don't stop doing those things as you age and mature. Today, guys, I'm gonna go over some brutally honest things that you need to stop and the age at which you need to stop doing them if you want to live your best life. The earlier you give them up, the better, but honestly, I'm going to give some of you guys a pass up until a certain age. Number one is living at home with your parents, all right? The age you need to stop doing that, 25. Unless you're going to school or there's some reason you're taking care of your parents or you're helping put food on the table and it's like an arranged thing and it's what you need to do and they need you to do that, then fine. But if you are a dude and you are trying to make your own way and at 25 you're not living on your own, you have failed. Move out, gentlemen. Get your own place, move in with buddies, do whatever you need to do, but stop living with your parents. And I'm also gonna toss out there taking money from mom and dad. All right, I'm looking at you. At what age should you stop basically using them as a financial crutch? In my opinion, 23. If you're 23 years old and you're not in graduate school or going for your doctorate or something, right? Which in that situation, I get it, I understand you're gonna need a little more help and assistance, but at 23 years old, you've graduated from college if you went to college, all right? Or if you didn't go to college, you should have a job. And if you didn't go to college and you're not providing for yourself and you're still living at home and you're still actually asking mom and dad for money, seriously, you've gotta reevaluate your life. 23 years old, you've gotta get off the financial tit of your parents, blaming everybody else or anybody else for your life. 25, that's the age. All right, once again, 25, in my opinion, is when a boy becomes a man, right? 25 years old, you gotta drop the act, you gotta stop with the excuses, and you basically gotta start taking ownership for the fact that you are where you are because of the choices you are making. Stop blaming them. It's not your mom, it's not your dad, it's not your weird Uncle Barry, it's not your boss, it's not your ex-girlfriend. It is your problem now. Smoking weed all the time, 22. In my opinion, when you're younger, if you're going to experiment, that's the time to do it. But once you reach the age of 22 or 23, once again, you're starting to get into manhood. I personally feel like you are going to set yourself up for a lifetime of underachieving. Video games. All right, so here's the deal. I don't think video games are bad. I don't think they're bad for a recreational activity or something. If you enjoy playing video games, I think you can do that pretty much your entire life. I am not a gamer, right? I have other things I'd rather be doing. I have other things that interest me. But if you want a video game, or be a gamer, that's fine. But if you're doing and spending hours a day with video games over the age of 24, once again, there's a problem. When I think about my own evolution in terms of adulthood, 25 years old, that's when I feel like I kind of became my own man. And then 35 years old, that's when I became an adult man, right? I was thinking about things that I didn't when I was 25. I was thinking about my career a little bit more, 401k, things I was thinking about at 35, I wasn't thinking about at 25. And at 45, I feel like I became a grown-ass man. I finally feel like I have a good, secure sense of self. It took me a long time in order to develop that. The next thing I want to talk about, I guess it's number 4-ish. I might jack all these numbers up, but regardless, is your body. Not taking care of your body. All right, 22 years old. Once again, you gotta start younger. The later you go and not taking care of your body physically, the harder it is to reverse course or basically undo some of the damage that you did. And so by 22 years old, you gotta start thinking about your meals, you gotta start thinking about what you're eating, what you're drinking, what you're not drinking. By 22 years old, you need to have the habit of working out, exercising, lifting weights, going to the gym, really taking ownership of your body and your health. All right, the next thing, number 5, is mental health. All right, 25 years old, in my opinion, in my experience and opinion, is when I decided, all right, I want to be happy, and so I've got to stop blaming people, but I've also got to basically just forgive and figure out a way to move forward from the things that basically I felt were holding me back. 25 for me was a big year because it was finally that time in my life when I was all right, I'm not happy. And if I keep going down this road, if I keep being a people pleaser, if I keep going down this path, I knew that I was not going to be happy. I wasn't, personally very, very, very secure in who I was. I also was dating somebody I absolutely should not be dating that was not worth me. And I needed to figure a bunch of shit out. But I knew that I needed help in order to do it. And so like I've mentioned a bunch of times, I actually sought therapy when I was 25 years old. Therapy is a tool that I used in order to basically forgive other people, forgive myself, to basically find my value and my voice and realize that I was awesome, honestly. And that's one of the things that therapy helped me with. It was self-esteem. I know that, life is hard. It's hard for all of us. But you having some resource or an outlet that you can talk to basically get a third-party perspective or just give you perspective on you and what you're doing, maybe your habits, some of the things that you're doing, whether or not it's self-destructive or, it's toxic behavior or it's a weak defeatist mindset, your therapist can help you with all of this. And a therapist can help you move in the right direction and get happy and healthy. And at 25 years old, it is time to take absolute control of your future. How I'd like to recommend doing that, guys, is BetterHelp. They're today's video sponsor. I'm going to link to them down below. BetterHelp is an incredible online resource. I use them. My friends have used them. They've got over 7,000 reviews on Trustpilot with an average of 4.3. So it's a company that you can trust. Guys, like I said, I've used them. The way that it works, there's a link down below this video, betterhelp.com/alpha-m. Go there. Fill out the questionnaire. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions about you. The whole idea and reason is to help match you with a therapist that's going to be best suited to help you with your needs. And then you're going to be able to start communicating usually within a few days. It is amazing. And then if you find that the therapist isn't great or isn't right for you for whatever reason, you can actually change therapist at no additional charge with BetterHelp, which is something that I love. And the other thing that I love, guys, is that it's convenient. You can have your therapy session any way that it's convenient for you, whether or not it's the phone, it's chat, it's computer, right? Whatever way is most convenient for you, that's the way that you can have therapy. Because if it's not convenient or it's not comfortable, you're not going to keep doing it. But I can promise you something. If you take action, take control, and take me up on this offer, you will be doing yourself the biggest favor you didn't realize you needed. So what do you think? You want to give it a try? You ready to change your life? The answer is yes. Hit the link down below. BetterHelp.com/alpha-m. That's BetterHelp.com/alpha-m. If you go through my special link, guys, you're going to get 10% off your first month of therapy. I promise you, you're going to be glad you did. And I also want to tell you, I'm proud of you. Guys, therapy, it will change your life. And at 27 years old, in my opinion, you should stop going out and partying every weekend, right? 21, fine. You're 21, for God's sake. 22, yeah. 23, you got it. 24, sure. 25, all right. Let's still go. 26 now, it's kind of settle down a little bit. And 27, stop it. Just stop it, right? Because here's what also comes with that. You're going to basically destroy yourself. You're destroying your body. All right, you're doing and making some really bad decisions. You need to stop sleeping with all the toxic people or hooking up with people you shouldn't be hooking up with when you start to get a little bit older, around 27 years old. Because seriously, this is the age at which a lot of people make a lot of really bad decisions, right? Your body is starting to go to shit because you're not taking care of it. You're abusing it. You're not taking care of it because you're being with people you shouldn't be being with, which brings me to the next thing you need to stop doing at some point, and that is hanging out with low-value losers. I'm going to say 26 years old, right? You're not a college kid anymore. You're also not in high school. A lot of the people that you were hanging out with back then, if you're still hanging out with them, all the people that were just partying all the time, they are going to keep you partying into your late 20s and early 30s. By 26 years old, you got to ditch them. You got to start looking for people that are going to add more value to your life. They're going to help you ascend that ladder, whether or not it's corporate, professional, personal, social, it doesn't matter. You've got to stop hanging out with losers at 26. 26 is also the age that you need to stop being broke by choice, right? It's a struggle. I get it. But if you are basically choosing broke over hustle or strategy or budgeting or being smart with your money, right? At 26, you got to start making a plan for the future. Because if you are wanting to have a family, if you're wanting to basically create and build wealth, and FU money, it starts before you're 30. It starts when you're 26, right? I get it, right? Up until this point, you might not have a great job. You might be living at home. If you are living at home and you're not saving your money, you are stupid. And by 28, you need to stop hooking up without a purpose. Woo! Yeah, I'm looking at you. Because here's the deal. At 28 years old, you've got to start thinking about what you want your life to be. And if you're just still randomly like hooking up with people or just going and like, doing the whole Tinder thing or just hooking up with old acquaintances or people that you shouldn't be hooking up with, 28, like why? What's the deal? You've got to start making a plan for your future. If you are serious about being the best person you can and you want to build a family and a life, at 28 years old, you're past the age of just randomly like hooking up with low value people. It's time to make a plan. It's time to look for that person that's going to be a partner long term. One of the things that I can tell you from experience is that when I met my wife, that was when everything started to really scale and get better for me. Up until that point, I was chasing, right? I was going out. I was doing the whole internet dating thing. I was being with people I shouldn't be, right? I was going out way too much. But when I finally met the person, it allowed me to basically use all that brainwidth and bandwidth that I was using chasing and looking and searching for more productive things. And I often say that getting married was one of the things that truly impacted my life in the most profound and positive way. Not only did I have somebody that I loved that was literally like my best friend, my ride or die, it allowed me to be creative, it allowed me to be professional, it allowed me to be and seek betterment and growth personally and professionally because I didn't have to worry about getting ass. I had it at home. And 26 also is the age that I feel you need to really start dressing better. Stop dressing like a teenager, right? When you're a teenager, you're dressing like a teen. When you're early 20s, you're still wearing the same clothing you wore when you were in your teens. 24, 25, you're getting a job, you're making more money, but now you're spending that money on places to live or a nice car to drive, something like that, right? But at 26, now you got to start thinking about the image because at 30, this is the time you need to stop bouncing from job to job to job to job. You need to pick a direction and move towards it. But part of that is looking the part. At 26, I truly feel like you need to stop dressing like shit. It's time to own the fact that you are a man. An adult man that needs to dress responsibly and respectfully. Which brings me, like I said, to the age of 30. It's time to stop with the dead-end jobs. It's time to start looking for a future, time to start looking for higher value skills. It's time to start making a plan and figuring out what that North Star is. When you're in your 20s, it's fine. You might be trying or testing a bunch of different things, but by 30, this is the time at which you need to really focus on something and go after it with all reckless abandon. 30 is also the age that I feel like you need to stop living without a plan. When you're in your 20s, right, you're kind of bouncing here and there, you're looking, you're not really sure, fine, totally cool. But at 30 years old, you need a plan, you need to execute the plan. The plan can change. Mine sure did. Which brings me to the last thing you need to stop doing, and that is waiting for perfect timing. The age is now. It doesn't matter where you've been or what you've done, you've got to stop. You've got to stop thinking that the world is going to hand you something. Stop waiting for somebody to offer you a successful path. It's time for you to take action. If you want to start a business, now is the time. Today, this is the age. If you want to have that job or you want to make that money or you want to meet that person, now, today. Don't wait, today's the day. Perfect timing does not exist. It doesn't matter what age you are right now. Now is the perfect time to take control of the rest of your life. I just wanted to do this video because I've been thinking a lot about kind of the evolution of manhood. When you're younger, like I said, you make some bad decisions, it's cool. 25, really, I feel, is the pivotal age at which you need to start taking ownership for the future. And at 35, now, like, look out. Like, you are a man, like an adult man. And at 45, like I said, that's when you're a grown-ass man. I am literally approaching 50 years old, and it's amazing that I'm almost an old man. But looking back at my life and the things that I've done or not done, I realize that the sooner you can get these things under control, the further along you're going to get, the happier you're going to be, and the more amazing your life will become. Guys, I love you. I think you're amazing. It's time to get your head out of your ass and take action.